Driving is hard enough as it is, especially if you're a human, right? Potholes, snowbanks, black ice, there's always a reason to keep your eyes peeled when you drive around this city. An infrared camera is being developed in Montreal by Polytechnique researchers, which could allow self-driving cars to see through snow and fog. Let's find out the technology behind that. See if self-driving cars could even work in this city. Oussama Moutanabbir is on the line, professor and Canada Research Chair in the Department of Engineering and Physics at Ecole Polytechnique. Oussama, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
So tell me about the future here, Oussama. Tell me about your infrared camera that you're developing.
I think the future is now. The infrared camera that we have been working on are cameras that can detect a portion of the electromagnetic spectrum in which snow, fog, smoke all can be transparent, which means that we can see through this without any difficulty. And obviously one of the main applications is autonomous vehicles. But the applications extend beyond that. So you can imagine firefighters can use these cameras to see through smoke to save someone. And also we can use them for night vision as well. So self-driving cars are almost here, but making them safe would require new technology that can detect light within a specific portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, but must also be affordable. So there are technologies today mainly used by the military, but a single camera can cost more than a car. So we have to have in our mind the consumer market, and the consumer market, a camera should not exceed a very tiny fraction of the cost of a car.
And Oussama, everyone is trying to solve self-driving cars. Obviously, you can think of Tesla and their software, Intel and Mobileye, Google's Waymo. The list goes on and on. The companies that are trying to solve self-driving here, they have various systems. Some rely just on cameras. Some use LiDAR and radar, other sensors like that. Tell me why your solution here, why infrared cameras is different and could be a compelling solution to the problem.
The use of cameras, like in Tesla, for instance, is very effective. But you can imagine under extreme weather conditions, it will become very challenging. So myself, I drive Tesla, and sometimes I get warning that one of my sensors or cameras are blocked, and usually are blocked by snow. So to get around that problem, we need to extend the current cameras work until, let's say, 1.1 micron in terms of detection of light. So we send light and we detect within that range. So what we decided to do is to extend that range to a higher wavelength, and higher wavelength can allow circumventing those obstacles. So we can have an obstacle in front of us, and we can see behind the obstacle. So we did some experiments in our lab where we can put a physical object that can block the view. So anyone who's using the visible portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, so our eyes are trained to see that. If we use that portion and we detect it, we will see nothing behind that obstacle, because obviously the obstacle will absorb all light. But if we extend the wavelength that we can detect, that obstacle becomes transparent. And that's the novelty of our work. So we can detect light that are a much longer wavelength, and at this wavelength, a large number of obstacles that we are facing in our daily life can become transparent.
We're with Oussama Moutanabbir from Ecole Polytechnique, part of the Department of Engineering and Physics. They're working on infrared cameras that could be used for, among other things, self-driving cars. So, Oussama, one of the things that I've heard, and on this program during this segment, we've talked about self-driving cars and autonomous vehicles a lot. One of the things that I've heard is that when you're trying to develop a self-driving car system, you need to make sure the data that the car is getting is proper, and that there's not false signals in the data. And it's one of the reasons why, I think it's Tesla, they dropped radar from their self-driving system because they said they were getting too many false positives. How reliable is the data coming from your infrared cameras? Are there any things like a quote-unquote false positive?
Yes. So the problem has two facets. There is the algorithm part, which is the data that you process and how you interpret it, and the hardware part. So the hardware need to address some key challenges related to the environment and how fast we collect the data and how accurate we collect the data. So this is the first part of the problem. The second part is once you collect the data, is the algorithm that will analyze the data and send the information to the car. Now, my lab is working more on the hardware part. And one way to solve the problem is to develop detectors with very, very low noise, which means that can be protected against any noise that might give some false positives. And for that, we need to have high quality materials. So the materials that are used for this very specific application are semiconductors. So semiconductors, everyone knows semiconductor chips. So we take the same material and we try to purify it down to the atomic level. And once the material is of high purity, in theory, we can reduce that noise. So this is what can be done in terms of the hardware in order to improve the quality of the materials. So Tesla, you're right, dropped the LiDAR for this very specific reason. So for that there is noise in the detectors on sensors, and also the cost of the fabrication is very high. So now, if we look at in the portion of the electromagnetic spectrum that I mentioned earlier, there is a possibility to have sensors that are extremely fast, of high quality, that can provide the algorithm with a clean data. So this will be an evolution from two sides: a high quality hardware that can improve the algorithm, and algorithms can be improved in order to process the data acquired by the hardware in a very efficient and accurate manner. So it's too early to say that LiDAR technology would not be used in self-driving cars. I think it's a hardware plus algorithm or software challenge. One of the problems that need actually to be solved is everyone know thermal cameras. We can see them in airports when someone has a fever. We can see that there is a change in temperature. These cameras, in principle, can be used in cars as well, except that the algorithms used in the current self-driving car or partially self-driving car cannot be adapted to process the data acquired by the thermal cameras. So this is why infrared and short infrared cameras that we are working on can provide a solution that is right in between. We can use the current algorithms, and we tackle the problem from ground up, which means improving the quality of the semiconductor used in order to eliminate all of these noises. So it's, as we say, it's a work in progress.
Work in progress. And Oussama, before I have to let you go, I need to ask you about your team. Tell me about the team of students, engineers, everyone that's working on solving this.
This is a fantastic question. And as an educator and professor, I cannot appreciate enough this kind of questions. Well, in my team, I'm basically the useless person. So I'm here. I'm surrounded with a team of young people, highly ambitious, creative. They work hard, and I'm here only to slow them a little bit down and give them some wisdom in order to tackle problems that are technologically relevant, but do it in a scientific way. So it's a long-term battle. So the result that we published recently, we spent something like 9 years working on this. So we need people who are committed and motivated, and we're happy here in Montreal to have all of this large pool of young people who are really committed in doing fundamental science and pushing the knowledge to a stage that we can see that they may have something useful that can benefit the society. So yes, I have a wonderful team of engineering physics, people who love quantum mechanics, but also they use quantum mechanics and quantum physics in solving technological problems. So yes, I'm very proud of the team. As I mentioned, I'm the most useless person in the team.
Oussama, let me tell you something, Oussama. You sound useful and knowledgeable. Okay, so I'm sure your students are taking advantage of all that knowledge. Hey, listen, thanks so much for coming on the show. Please keep us abreast of any developments. Let us know how the progress is going. Super interesting.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. That is Oussama Moutanabbir. He is a professor and Canada Research Chair in the Department of Engineering and Physics at Ecole Polytechnique.